Are you looking to create an amazing environment for kids filled with positive learning opportunities and positive behavior? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you my favorite entry-level games that are going to change everything. Welcome to the awareness module. How's it going, everybody? PJ here from the Awareness Module, where we are bridging the gaps between life and education. On this channel, we discuss positive ways to influence young minds so that they can find success, not just in the classroom, but also in their lives. We also do educational tech and resource and game reviews, so if any of that sounds appealing to you, I would suggest subscribing. Okay, here we go. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. Let's talk a little bit about some games. Now, the games I'm going to show you here today are relatively inexpensive games. All of these games are about $10 to $20, and there'll be links to all of this stuff in the description underneath, so they will be easily accessible for you. Now, let's get down to it. I'm going to roll up my sleeves that were already rolled up, and let's jump right in. The first game I'm going to start with is the game Sorry. I'm sure you're familiar with the board game Sorry, most people are. Well, this is the card game version of it, and what is nice about this game is it is a really simple counting game to 21. Your kids are constantly going to be counting towards 21 using these cards, and there's some special cards too as well. And anytime a player gets to 21, they can flip their start card, their pawn card, over to home. First person to get all 4 pawns home wins. Now, obviously, there's some things in the game that change things up a little bit, like you can steal someone's Sorry, or you can make someone flip their pawn back over to start, just like in the real game Sorry. So, really inexpensive game that you should pick up. Sorry, I don't really know where to put these, so I'm gonna put it there. All right, moving on. This game, I just learned about. A principal at a school that I was at showed me this game, and this is a really, really cool and interesting game. It's a spatial recognition game that has a little bit too much packaging, but that's fine. Comes with this handy dandy little carrying case, and what makes this game super interesting is the cards are clear. And how the game works is you are trying to find cards that fit together and make a swish. So it's a speed game, it's a recognition game, and basically what you're doing is you have cards laid out and you're using your brain to sort of flip the cards around to see which ones will fit together, but you can't put them together until you see it first. And if you say swish and you try and put them together and they don't fit, then you actually lose points. Really great game. It's fast, it's quick, it takes about 15 minutes to play maximum. Really fun and exciting and interesting game about spatial recognition. Check out Swish. Moving on, let's go to No Thanks. Do you want to play No Thanks? No thanks. No, it's actually a fantastic game. They will probably say yes. This again is a math game. It has to do with numbers. You have cards in here that are numbers, and you also get a bunch of chips. Expect to lose the chips, but hey, they're just chips. It's not that big of a deal. It's not hard to find some sort of markers to use as those chips. So the point of the game is you're trying to get the least amount of points possible. Cards will be on the table and they will flip a card over, and ooh, the first card is a 33. That's a lot of high points that I don't want. So if I don't want them, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a chip on it and I'm gonna say, no thanks. And it's gonna go around and around in a circle. At some point, someone is going to take this card. Either that person's gonna run out of chips, or if they're smart, they're gonna let the chips pile up for a bit and then take the card, so they get all the chips that are on it. Really fun game, has to do with mathematics. The greatest part, I think if you're a teacher, you'll love this. At the end of the game, you gotta total up your score. There is a lot of counting going on in that. Really, really fun game, simple but strategic. Check out No Thanks. Here's a language game for you. I think it's the only language game I have. I'm sorry. Again, if you can think of some great ones, put it in the comments below so I can review and check them out. This is Speedy B. I think I got this at Winners or something like that. Really great game. You use dice, and the dice all have letters, and there's also cards included in this game. And the cards ask questions that relate to the dice that you rolled. So for example, name a piece of sports equipment containing this letter, and it says to pick a dice that you want to roll. So not only are they trying to figure out things that relate to the topic, they're also finding out things that relate to a specific letter. Really fun game. I've actually played this game in the car with family, and we just used the cards, and it was still super fun. It's a speed game, it's a language game, it's a pretty fun game. Check out Speedy Bee. This is a cool one. This game is Hive. And you can hear that. It's not a card game. This is a tile game, very similar to chess. How the game works is you have a bunch of insects, and all the insects move in different ways, just like chess. And the point of the game is you're trying to surround your opponent's queen bee. It's a two-player game that is really interesting and has won a ton of awards. I would definitely check out Hive if you want to, start an entry-level game of getting your kids used to chess and more sophisticated movement strategy games like that. Check out Hive. And moving on to Monopoly Deal. Now, I'm sure you've played Monopoly out there, and Monopoly takes a long time. This game is 10 or 15 minutes long, and it has all the same fun as Monopoly. You build properties, you try and gain properties, you put houses on them, you make people pay rent, you steal other people's property. A really, really fun little game that has to do with, well, capitalism, I guess. Making money and owning things and buying things from other people. So really fantastic game, Monopoly Deal. If you haven't picked this up already, make sure you check the description below and find a copy. Really inexpensive. This one has a price tag on it of $10. So not a hard one to find and a must-have for you. Moving on to, I'm going to save this one for last because it's my favorite. Moving on to Phase 10. This is a classic card game. It says here it's a rummy style card game. Very similar to Uno, which I'm sure you all have. You do have Uno, right? I hope you do. Really, really classic game. Cards look a little bit like Uno, and the point of the game is to get through a bunch of phases. First person to complete all the phases wins the game. Guess how many phases there are? You guessed it, there are 10 phases. Here's an example of some of the phases. 7 cards, all of one color. A run of 9 cards, a run of 7 cards, 1 set of 3, and 1 run of 4. Really interesting game, gets kids used to thinking about numbers and strategy in a different way. I would definitely pick this one up. This one's a little longer though. This one can take about a half hour, sometimes an hour, depends on how many players there are, but cool little game, Phase 10. And last but not least, I've talked about this one before on my channel. This is an amazing game, Sleeping Queens. I really like this game because the art is great. It's all about waking up these queens, and all the queens give you certain points. Person with the most points wins. Actually, in the rule book, I think it says the first person to get to 40 points wins, but really, really great game. It's got fantastic artwork. There's a dragon in it, and it's got these queens and cool kings and stuff. It's just a really fun little game, and it has excitement where you can steal from other people too as well and put queens back to sleep. It's just a really interesting game that also involves numbers. Kids are getting rid of number cards by using math equations and finding pairs, and really cool and exciting game. That is Sleeping Queens. Again, a must-have to pick up. Whew, I'm pooped. Well, there you go, everybody. There is a ton of really fantastic games that really create an amazingly positive environment when working with kids. These games can also help them in education. A lot of these games will create some good cognitive scaffolding to harder games and harder systems and harder forms of learning. So please make sure you try some of these out and check them out. If you have any suggestions, again, of any games that you wish were on this list too as well, make sure you put the comment down on the bottom so that I can take a look at them and get them on the show for next time. So my name is PJ from the Awareness Module. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.